All right, we're back. Now it's review time.
It is.
Luke, I have something that's not here.
Okay.
It's at my house.
Okay.
And I've been using it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to talk about it.
Tell me all about it.
It's the Roborock S7 MaxV Ultra.
Okay.
It's a mouthful.
Yep.
It is a smart vacuum, robot vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
And Roborock has been at it for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
And they really know how to build these things. They really know how to make them. They're smart. They're very capable, very cool. And this is no exception.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used, I think, the last two models of theirs and had a chance to work with those. This S7 is really cool, and it is available in a variety of ways that you can pick it up.
Okay.
But so I'll talk about it in a way that's a little bit more abstract, so you
Sure.
don't have to go with the specific setup that I have.
Right. Okay.
So the version that I have comes, or I'm testing, is with the empty wash fill dock.
Okay.
So you normally have your vacuum, and as I'm talking, this will be B-roll footage to kind of show you what I'm talking about. So they look the same. They're all like these little, not little, but pucks.
Yeah.
Coins that kind of move around the room.
Right.
The S7 is very quiet. You can use voice control. You can name it if you want to in your Google Assistant or within the app itself. You can name the vacuum. And I like to name mine after droids and famous robots and things. So mine is Dio from the Rise of the Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So it's named after that, and I can ask Google to start Dio, and it'll leave the dock and go clean the house.
Nice.
So setting it up is really easy. If you go with just the S7 itself, you're more or less taking it out of the box. You've got a little kind of like a dock that you just plug it in, and it kind of parks itself on there. It's got some magnets so it knows that it's on there.
And that's how it charges.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. So nice and easy. It takes all of a few minutes to set up.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on the, load the app. It looks for it, connects to Wi-Fi, tells it the information, and then you're pretty much good to go.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll go out there, and the first time or two, it moves a little slower, but it's kind of exploratory, figuring out how the house is laid out.
Yeah.
So it'll look around the house and kind of find the walls and work itself around to kind of get a feel for what each room looks like, and it'll actually identify objects in the house.
Uh-huh.
So if you're the kind of person who, once in a while you might have, like for us, we have, a dog with, toys that sometimes they're not put away. It'll be laying in the middle of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Or shoes. If you come home, you don't always put them away. They might be, you took them off over here, and now they're, not picked up for the vacuum.
Right.
So this identifies that, and it can show you on the app itself what it thinks they are, and it shows you even like a certainty, like 89% certain that these are shoes here, and you can you can go in there and look at it and say, yeah, that's exactly what this is.
Right.
It'll also identify kitchen table, couch, chairs, different things that might be in the middle of a room. And it'll put them on the map. You can go in as you use it. It'll really start to, clean up the walls so it doesn't look as kind of like indefinite.
Yeah.
Because it'll kind of scan and look out. So if it sees there's like a doorway or steps, or if there's like a sliding glass door and it knows that it can kind of see out. Yeah. It doesn't draw the hard lines there. Right. So the more it runs, the more specific that map looks in identification. Yeah. You can set it up for different rooms. So after you've got it set up, you can see it'll kind of tell you this is carpet, this is hardwood floor. It'll identify this is room 1, this is room 2, and you can draw lines between them. Mm-hmm. So if you want to split a room up and say this room is actually a living room area and this is a dining area, you can also merge areas. Okay. So our house has kind of got a weird layout in a way that the living room is both living and dining, and then the family room is kind of blends right into the kitchen. There's a hallway, And it just takes a few minutes, really, after you've had it run a time or two, to say, I want to merge these two. So when I say clean the kitchen, this is what I mean by kitchen, because these have a common floor.
Yeah.
If I want to say clean the bathroom, it knows that this little small section is the bathroom. So when I want to clean a spot or a room, kind of like there's like zones.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can just simply tap on the map and say, I want to do these 2 rooms and not really worry about the rest of it.
Right.
Other cool features, it has, it will automatically, now what I have is that wash fill dock.
Yeah.
So this is a little different in that instead of just going back to the dock and you empty, you lift it up and you empty the contents out, you can have it go back to this guy and it will automatically pull all the dirt and debris out into the dock itself, which has a bag, like a vacuum bag.
Yeah.
So you can set things like do not disturb hours. So anything after maybe say 8 or 9, it doesn't do that. It's pretty noisy when it does that.
Yeah.
But it's a clean, not like clanky noise.
Yeah.
But it's just sucking all of that stuff out of there.
Sure.
Let's see. It'll also fill up water. So this will not only vacuum, but it will mop for you as well.
Yeah.
So we have a mixed kind of floor. When it comes off the dock, it automatically goes right onto like a tile. And then we have a rug, a nice big shaggy rug not far from it. And that was something that was interesting as we ran it the first time. I did not set anything up. I just said, let's run this and just see what it does.
See what happens, yeah.
The rug is a very thick pile, loose kind of like shag.
Yeah.
So it did struggle a little bit on that as it was trying to go under the vacuum and kind of like, or the couch and try to like turn, and like it has like the little kind of like, what do you call that? Like a rubber.
Yeah.
Almost kind of like forces the dirt, shakes it up, and moves it into
like
the
an
center.
agitator kind of.
Yeah. So that would get a caught in the carpet.
Yeah.
And it'll tell you the robot has stalled or is locked. You pick it up and put it back down. It'll recalibrate, figure out where it's at, and get going again. So I was able to basically say, hey, you know what? After 2 runs, this is not worth the hassle of...
Don't worry about it, robot. I'll handle the rug if you get everything else.
And that's exactly what I did. So I created a no-go zone. And I just drew a little area on the map that said, don't touch this. And it will go right up to the area and go around it. And you can kind of draw that within like inches. So
nice.
I have it kind of airing just about 2 to 3 inches on the outside of the rug.
Sure, just to be safe.
Just to be safe. And that's worked well since then.
Nice.
It's a very quiet vacuum. It does come out and do straight lines where sometimes you'll see the lower priced ones tend to kind of ping pong around the room like the DVD standby screen.
Right.
This will go and it'll show you on the map as you run it exactly where it went. So each time you run it, you can see the cycle, see the exact spots on the map. Other than that, if you have mopping, they might recommend that you wet the bottom of it if you know you're going to mop right away. You can start that, but then it has water, goes out, cleans, and you can tell it how thorough you want it to be, and in terms of scrubbing, and then you can have it kind of refill at whatever point. So if you say about halfway through, I want it to kind of get a fresh pass, so it'll go back, empty the dirty water, clean out the bottom of it, and which is kind of like a soft, almost like a towel washcloth material, but it'll get dirty. But the way it works, if you look at their website, it kind of goes through and passes it and kind of squeegees off all of that water and kind of re-wets it, and it goes back out to clean.
When it does mop, does it leave is the floor have like you have to let it dry, or is it pretty good about...
It's pretty good about it. And I didn't lean into like how much. I went on the lighter side of mopping,
sure.
Because just like with vacuuming, this is not our replacement cleaning. It's kind of supplemental.
A maintenance almost.
Yeah. So we'll run that in 3 or 4 days out of the week, but we'll also run the vacuum or mop the floor, especially in the wintertime with coming in with salt, snow, slush, things like that.
Now you can set it to have a schedule also, right?
Yeah.
So you don't actually have to tell it to go out and clean it. You can say, hey, at this time to this time, nobody's home, so feel free to run and do your thing.
Yep. So there's a lot of settings in the app. So you go in there and, like, I'm looking at the map, you can see the no-go zone.
Yep.
You can see where it's at. So that's my back deck. This goes down into the bathroom, into the living room. When it sets up the map, you can actually go in and say, this is not a couch, this is a bed.
Yeah.
This is, this type of thing is a chair, a couch, chair, whatever type of layout of the room is. But you can do like a top-down view that's just basically, your 2D map.
Right.
And you can also do the 3D where it kind of shows the walls. Another cool feature is you can do up to 4 floors.
Right.
So if you take this thing and go upstairs and do that, it can learn.
It'll sense where it is.
Yeah, so it'll do 4 floors.
That's pretty cool.
Some of the early vacuums struggled with having steps.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know what to do when they got to it. They would just go tumbling.
Right.
So this knows right away what it is, and you can see it kind of proceed with caution. You can actually, if you wanted to, for whatever reason, you can do like a key combo button on the robot, but then you could go in and see first person what it sees.
Oh, interesting.
So you're like kind of crawling around mouse level on the floor, seeing what it sees. It's really cool. If you want to create zones, you can do that. You can go in and say, I want to clean just this area, and I can do it from here and have the house done. If I want to start something, I'm on my way home, and I'm like, oh, let's just get a nice, let's get something going. It's really nice to do that. So with these, I'm always not surprised, but I'm always pleased with the amount of suction.
Yeah.
And you look at the website and they have, the descriptions will tell you like the suction power. And were we a vacuum reviewing website, we would, be able to qualify the difference between some of those. But I could speak more to the everyman, kind of like, is this something that's going to work in your house? Is it smart? Is it cool?
Yeah.
Compared to some of the previous ones that I've seen, even from them, it charges pretty quick.
Nice.
When it goes out there, you can actually see how long it ran. You can see how much battery it used. And you can see real time what the vacuum is in terms of battery level right now.
Yeah.
And you can see, previous cleans. You can do all kinds of fun things. If you go in there and actually mess around with the settings, there's quite a lot you can do in terms of like, how do you want it to, how often do you want it to clean? How often do you want it to scrub, swap the water out?
Right.
Or is the house pretty clean generally? I don't have to worry about it,
Sure.
Agitating too much floor. As it ran by, weather was nice this past weekend, and I ran the mop, and the floor dries just as quick as it would be, if not quicker, because it's more of an even distribution, whereas sometimes when you mop,
you might get one wet spot and then you're pushing that out to other spots.
Yeah, so it's really cool. I would definitely recommend the brand as a whole.
Yeah.
This is a new version, the S7 MaxV Ultra. Whether or not you want it to do the auto cleaning or the dock, that's up to you.
Now you've used a couple of them at this point. Do you think, in your opinion, the dock is worth it? Do you think it's a nice ad?
It is a nice ad, but it is a pricey ad.
Sure.
You're talking a couple $100 more just to have this on there, if not more. Again, at one point, not that long ago, I didn't have one of these in my house.
Sure.
So just the ability to have it kind of go around and clean up and then empty the container in the trash. It's very easy to kind of like pinch, take it off, and empty it out.
Right.
That's not a problem. As to whether or not it's worth, the mopping is for me, is an after feature that I don't use a lot of. So I don't know that I would, personally, I like that it does it, but I don't think that I necessarily have to have it.
Sure.
Because that's the one where, we will clean those floors ourselves more often.
Sure.
Running the vacuum, we have, not a ton of carpet, but we'll run the vacuum. It's probably the having a dog and a cat, something that we'll do every other day, just as a practice. But so I don't know that it's necessarily required,
sure.
And that's a user preference.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the vacuum itself is really cool. One of the other things that I like about it is that when you're setting it up, if you do have pets, you can tell it I have pets, and it's a little bit more forgiving when it comes to obstacles.
Okay.
So it sees something and it doesn't treat it as if this is permanently going to be here.
Right. You don't have to constantly update your map.
Yeah. So here it might be, that's just the toy that the dog was playing with and left it there. Right. So it treats that area. It comes back to it and will kind of rewrite itself because it knows, hey, this is to be a little bit more forgiving. So, yeah, I would definitely say, as a brand, check out Roborock. Definitely recommend them. I certainly recommend this model as well.
Yeah.
As far as whether or not you want to get the automatic, fill station, that's up to you. It definitely works. Yeah. But I don't know. That's your preference.
Sure.
So, yeah. That's the Roborock S7 MaxV Ultra.
And what's that thing come in at?
So, if you go to their store right now and look at it, there are a handful of options. They do have a spring cleaning offer.
Okay.
So, if you went with the S7 robot with an auto-empty dock and cyclone dustbin, so you're looking at about $7.99.
Okay.
And then if you went with some of the other models, like the S5 was the first one I had a chance to work with, and the the S7, if you just went with that by itself, you're looking about $649.
Okay. And
then if you went, I don't know if they have it on here yet for the full, but I want to say it was, and don't quote me, but I want to say maybe $12.99, $13.99.
Okay.
For the whole.
Everything together.
Everything together.
Okay.
So for some people, they're like, no way, it isn't worth it for me. And then there's some people are going to go, you mean I don't have to touch a mop now too?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's up to you. So definitely check them out. Look it up, figure out which models. And then if you look at their website, they usually have some kind of sales going, and they don't always happen to be selling just the current model. There are other ones that you can look at and are very highly reviewed. Right. Going back a couple of years now, they've been some of the more interesting things that I've seen come out of CES.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Well, thanks, Scott.
Yeah, you are welcome.